Trying to get pregnant can happen right away, or it can be a little bit of a journey. For Alex and I, it took us 8 tries over the course of a little less than a year to get pregnant. There were a few months in there we just didn't try because he was sick or I was sick, we were traveling, but I tell you the overall time frame because even the months that we didn't try just made it feel like so much longer. Hey, I'm Amber. Welcome back to my channel, or if this is your first time here, thanks so much for stopping by. Today, I'm sharing with you 12 things I did to improve my chances of pregnancy and to boost my fertility before and while trying to conceive. The last one is really more of a bonus tip, but I think it's really important and I think it's something that's often overlooked, so definitely don't skip that one. We're just gonna jump right into it, but before we do, I wanna mention that I am not a medical professional. This is not medical advice. This is just based on my own experience. I know fertility can be a really touchy subject, and if you're watching this because you are struggling to get pregnant, my heart is with you. Even though Alex and I didn't technically struggle to get pregnant because it did happen within a normal time frame, every single month that we tried and it didn't happen weighed really heavily on me. So I'm hoping that if this is the reason you're watching it, that there's a few things I did in here that you might find extra helpful. The first thing is something that I think every woman should do, and that is to really learn about the female cycle and specifically to gain a deeper understanding for your own cycle. A great place to start is with the book Taking Charge of Your Fertility. The first section is about naturally preventing pregnancy, and then the second is about naturally getting pregnant, but she gives you all kinds of information about how the cycle works and also about how to tune in with your personal cycle. A few things that you can do that are really easy though to gain a deeper understanding for your own cycle is to take your basal body temperature. That's your temperature right when you wake up. The cheapest way to do that is orally, and you do need to get a special thermometer. You'll notice that your body has different patterns depending on where you're at in your cycle. I actually stopped taking it orally 6 months into our TTC journey because my dog was just waking me up a lot, and things like that can affect the accuracy of your reading. So I got a bracelet that I wear and I still use it. It takes your BBT throughout the night and then it gives you an average in the morning when you sync it to your phone. That has proven to be extremely accurate, and it just took some of the stress out of the whole BBT process. I don't know, I just got really granular with it, and I'm a little type A, so it kind of became a little bit more stressful for me than anything else. You also can check your cervical mucus, you can check your cervical height, and you can check the way that your cervix feels. Those are all really easy things that you can do, and you can do them in the morning while you're going to the bathroom. Ovulation tests are also very popular, but I personally think that an ovulation test by itself is not the most accurate thing. It's better to do an ovulation test alongside of these other things because you can get a false LH surge. Your body can try to ovulate and it not happen. So all of these other things alongside of an ovulation test, I think, are just a much more accurate way to tell where you're at in your cycle. The second thing that I did was I cut out alcohol completely. I did this before we started trying. I've read before that you can drink till it's pink. I just didn't want to risk it. Alcohol is not that good for you anyway, so I figured I'll just cut it out completely. Not that I drank a ton before, but I just did not want to risk being pregnant and having a drink or two and then going through the mental process of being oh my gosh, is the baby okay? So I just decided to cut it out completely. I drank red raspberry leaf tea and I took evening primrose oil. These actually are 2 supplements that I used way before ever trying to get pregnant, but I continued to use them into our TTC journey. Red raspberry leaf tea is supposedly good for toning and priming the uterus. It also can help with menstrual cramps. That's why I would drink it before we ever tried to get pregnant. Evening primrose oil is thought to be able to help improve egg quality and cervical mucus. The only difference is before trying to get pregnant, I would take evening primrose oil every single day, but I would only drink red raspberry leaf tea during my menstrual cycle. Once we were trying to get pregnant, I would only take evening primrose oil from menstruation to ovulation, and then I would stop. And I think that I did the same thing with the red raspberry leaf tea. Both of them can potentially cause uterine contractions and cramping, and so that's why it's not necessarily recommended to take it after ovulation. Before we get on to the next thing, if you are enjoying this so far and you like kind of crunchy motherhood, homemaking, and slow living type videos, please hit that subscribe button down there. I'd love to see you around here more often. The fourth thing that I tried was seed cycling. I cannot remember exactly where I got this idea. I'm almost positive it was from my OB because I went to like a naturopathic OB. It is supposed to help support fertility and balance hormones. I don't think there's any or a lot of research on this at all, but it's one of those things that it's not gonna hurt to try. You are supposed to take 1 tablespoon each of pumpkin and flax seed from menstruation to ovulation, and then from ovulation to menstruation, you do a tablespoon each of sesame and sunflower seeds. There's supposed to be nutritional components in pumpkin and flaxseed that help support estrogen levels during the follicular phase of your cycle, and then the same with sesame and sunflower seeds that are supposed to help boost progesterone during your luteal phase. Honestly, this was kind of a pain in the butt because 2 tablespoons of seeds maybe doesn't sound like that much, but unless you're a big nut and seed eater, which I am not, it's kind of difficult to get that many seeds into your diet every single day. So I had to get really creative. I would like put them in smoothies. I would blend it up and like make little protein balls. I didn't stick to this one super strictly. Like the first 2-3 months I did. After that, I was a little bit more laid back. Like I would try to get the seeds in. If I didn't eat them one day, I kind of was just like, it's fine. So the 5th thing that I did was I reduced the intensity of my workouts. Exercise is extremely good for your overall health and wellness. There's no questions about that. Really vigorous and intense exercise can actually make it harder to get pregnant. It's because it is a type of stress that you're putting on your body. And so if you're putting your body under like really extreme stress, it might find it harder to ovulate. I wasn't doing like CrossFit or anything like that, but Alex and I used to work out every other day, and we would work out for like an hour and then we'd go on a run, and then usually at night I would do 20 to 30 minutes of yoga as well. So I just took that down a couple notches and I didn't work out quite as long, and I just reduced the intensity. So I did more like lightweight, low impact workouts. The next thing was that I started meditating more to reduce my overall stress and to help improve my mindset. This whole process was a really tough time for me, and I started going down a really negative mental path. And I would start saying things like, I'm never gonna have a baby, or like, I'm never gonna get pregnant. I would look up guided meditations specifically for fertility or for anxiety and stress relief. Part of the reason I had such a hard time with this whole thing was because I didn't necessarily expect to get pregnant right away, like first try, but I definitely didn't think it was gonna take more than a few tries either. So meditation was just a really good way for me to kind of confront some of the difficult feelings and emotions that I was having. It's kind of a similar concept as the intense exercise, but in this case we're just dealing with like mental stress. The next thing was something that I did 2 or 3 months before I actually got pregnant, and that was to mostly cut out caffeine. I switched to mostly decaf tea and decaf coffee, but once or twice a week I would like treat myself and let myself have a caffeinated coffee. Everything I read says that there's nothing wrong with having caffeine in moderate amounts. High levels of caffeine can affect your chances of getting pregnant. So that was why I kind of was like, well, if high amounts can negatively affect your chances, then to some extent it must not be good at all. So that was why I just decided to stay on the safe side and just cut it out almost completely. The 8th thing I did a month and a half exactly before I got pregnant, and that was acupuncture. At this point I was getting kind of desperate, and I just wanted to try some type of like natural third-party support before I went to a fertility doctor. Acupuncture is a traditional Chinese medicine practice, and it's supposed to help reduce inflammation, increase circulation, and it also can help to reduce stress. I wanted to make sure that I went to someone who specialized in fertility and the female cycle. The person that I found, I ended up loving. It was a little bit of an investment because I did like a 3-month package deal because it was cheaper to do it that way than to pay like session by session. And I really wanted to make sure that like I gave it a solid shot before being like, nope, it doesn't work. And to me, going every single week seemed like the best way to do that. This is obviously not something that anyone needs to do. Like most people get pregnant without acupuncture, but I'm so glad that I did it because not only was the acupuncture just nice and relaxing, I got so much support from the acupuncturist herself. She gave me tons of like nutritional advice. Like she had told me to try to stick mostly to warming foods because those can help increase circulation. She put me on some extra supplements to help support my cycle and fertility. She gave me like lifestyle advice. I didn't have a ton of support outside of Alex because it was just something that like I didn't want to talk about with most people, but her whole job was to support me in this journey. And so every single week that I went to her felt like a little mini therapy session. The next thing that I did was actually also at the recommendation of my acupuncturist, and that is that I changed my prenatal vitamin to one that had methylated folate in it. Folate is a really essential vitamin for pregnancy, and you also need it to get pregnant. A lot of prenatals though have folic acid, and folic acid is okay for most people, but your body has to do some work to convert folic acid into a version of folate that it actually can use. The thing to be aware of here is that there is a gene mutation that some people have where their body cannot convert folic acid into a version of folate that their body can actually use. It's a lot cheaper to just get a prenatal with methylated folate than actually getting genetic testing done to see if you have this mutation. If your prenatal has methylated folate, then that is the most bioavailable version of folate that your body can just like immediately use. The 10th thing is not really something that I did on purpose, but I do think that this is an important thing to include, and that is that I had a really big emotional release. I, like a lot of people, am prone to stuffing down my big feelings and tough emotions. I know from my yoga teacher training that it is a common thing to like hold that emotional tension in your body, like in your hips or your jaw, your shoulders, or like right here. You might like be like this a lot of the day. I want to say that I was holding tension within my body because basically 2 things happened. My dog was diagnosed with a terminal condition and my sister got pregnant 3 months before I did. Those 2 things hit me really, really hard. I obviously was happy for my sister, but it's hard when you want something so bad and then someone close to you like gets that thing. Like you can be happy for them, but devastated for yourself at the same time. And that's what happened. And I cried from both of these things. I felt like I cried a year's worth of tears. And I told Alex like afterwards, I actually feel better. And so hopefully you don't let it get to the point that I did, but making sure that you're like letting out your big emotions on a regular basis can be really good, whether you're like journaling. I suck at journaling. Therapy can also be really good. Having a good cry like I did, or yin yoga is actually a really beneficial type of yoga for like that specifically. The 11th thing is that I got an HSG test done, and basically that's just where they shoot dye up into your cervix to make sure that your fallopian tubes don't have any kind of like blockage that could prevent like sperm from getting to the egg. I did not have any kind of a blockage, but I learned something valuable from that whole experience that I've seen no articles on. Maybe there is some kind of research on this, but I've seen nothing on it. And that is that resting and relaxing after intercourse could be a really beneficial thing. Let me explain. The doctor shot the dye up into my cervix and it immediately went through one of my tubes. And he waited like a minute because it wasn't going through the other two. He was like, I really want you to try to relax. And he started like coaching me through relaxing my like stomach and my belly and all of that. I was able to like soften up and relax, and the second I did, the dye shot through the other two. He was like, nope, you're good, nothing's wrong here. And so that was good to know. But I think that sometimes when you're trying to conceive, sex can start to feel more like a business transaction. Like we have to get this thing done more than something that's like enjoyable and relaxing and like a nice release for you. After I had that HSG done, and I can't remember if I said that was 1 month before I got pregnant, I really made it a point after Alex and I to like lay back and really relax. Okay, so here we are at the last thing. It's actually not something that I did, it's what Alex did. 2 to 3 months before we got pregnant, he started taking a prenatal and he also cut out alcohol and reduced his caffeine intake. I think that this one is so important because as women, I feel like we put all the pressure on ourselves to prepare our bodies and we tend to blame ourselves if we're not getting pregnant. It takes 2 to make a baby, and so I had no idea that they even made prenatals for men. I'm so grateful that like right when we found out that information, Alex was so quick to like jump in and, you know, to be like, yes, anything that I can do to help, I'm gonna do it. If your partner is not already involved in trying to like improve the chances, talk to them and get him involved as well. Okay, so I know that that was a lot of information, but I hope that whether you're about to start trying or you've already been trying, that you find some of this information helpful. If you are well into your trying to conceive journey, just know that I am sending you my love and all the baby dust. I know that it can be a tough spot to be in, even if you're not yet to the point where doctors would consider you to be like having fertility issues. I think it can be hard because it's a time where it might feel like you don't have a lot of control over what's going on, but you do have a little bit of control over your physical health, your emotional health, and your mental health. Try not to like blame yourself if it's not happening. One of the pieces of advice that I hate the most is just stop thinking about it and then it'll happen, because that makes it seem like if you're thinking about it and obsessing over it, like you're almost like at fault, and you're not. It's completely normal, I think, to kind of like obsess over these details and get like really granular. And I can tell you that I definitely obsessed over these things and I still got pregnant. If you want to get pregnant, it is my greatest wish that you do get pregnant. So, okay. I think that's really all I have to say. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. I hope you're having a beautiful day and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.